Going on, everybody? This is episode 15. Or not 15, we're on 16. Hold on. Let me restart that at this part.
Leave it in.
No, I'm not going to leave this trash in.
100% leave it in. Joey fucked up.
No.
Take one.
No. If this part is left in, it'll be like a blooper up on the side. Going on, everybody? This is episode 16 of the Skyward cast. I'm Joey Craig, aka the Skyward King, here with my co-host, Delvin Cox.
I'm prolific, so gifted. I'm the type that's gonna go get it, no kidding. Breaking down the switch in front of your building, sitting on steps feeling no feelings. Now, you should know what that one is, Joey Craig, and I think it's appropriate for the occasion.
Yeah, unfortunately it is.
R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle, victory lap. One of the, I think it's safe to say it now, you can say, one of the greatest West Coast rappers in history in terms of the impact that he's meant to a community. And it's so sad to see, while some people are saying, yeah, he accomplished his goal, I think there's so much more that the young brother could have brought to society in terms of, we need more Jay-Z's out there. You know, I bite no bones about it. I say Nas is my favorite rapper, but Nas isn't doing what Jay-Z is doing in terms of the way how Jay-Z's opening doors in terms of entrepreneurship for young African American males. He's always been that type of person who you see what Jay-Z does and like, we need to go do that. Get more businesses that are black owned and kind of carry on and build up your own neighborhoods. And Nipsey Hussle was a big part of doing just that. And it's sad to see somebody so young, because he's only 33 years old, get gunned down basically within in his prime of his life. And he could have done so much more for us.
That whole situation, man, that's just had me in a real funk the entire week. The same can be said for a lot of people. I really admired him for a lot of pretty much all that stuff you just said. I used to watch his interviews and, listen to all, pretty much try to soak up game, and build a strategy for what I plan to do at some point, and I'm sure that, that was a part of his plan. He wanted to create a blueprint so other people could follow and kind of give them a path to success. And he did. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate that a lot of people it took his passing for a lot more people to really see all the great things that he's done, but hey, he's still accomplishing his mission. And I'm sure all his business partners and his family, they will help, continue his mission. And the marathon will continue.
Yeah, it's good to see that it will continue. And I'm happy that it will continue. But at the same time, the guy was a father,
Yeah.
He was a husband. Yeah. You can't replace those things.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, when that first went down, that was one of the things that was just stuck on my mind. Other than the fact that it was horrible that somebody he was gunned down, and right in front of his own property. It's like you come on to another man's his own property and just, oh man, it was horrible. And then thinking about, well, I wonder how Lauren is doing. What's going through her mind, and his children, his family. It was like just that week before that, I was watching them on that GQ Q&A they were doing, that couples Q&A. It was like, man.
You know what it reminded me of? When Sean Taylor died. NFL player.
I don't know that name.
Okay. Basically what happened was some young kids broke into his house, shot him and killed him. They were trying to rob him. But he was such a staple to the community, and he was basically blowing up. He was having a career again in the NFL and things like that. And in his prime, he was gunned down and killed in his own home.
That's terrible.
It's just sad to see these young guys get killed. And I know people are saying it's been happening for too long now. That's what I want to say. It's been happening since I was younger. Tupac, Biggie, Big L, the list goes on and on. And these young guys dying way before their time. And it's not only just rap, it's just in general.
Yeah,
we need to learn a better way to solve our problems. It doesn't always have to be gun violence. It doesn't always have to be violence, period. We can talk things out. We can We can disagree. It's okay to disagree with people, and it's okay to have a problem with somebody or not get along with somebody. But leading the gunplay all the time is not the answer. I think that's where my generation has failed your generation in terms of we should have did a better job of teaching that. Like, hey, guns don't solve problems. It doesn't always have to lead to gunplay.
Yeah, I don't really. There's really no generation to really put the blame on. It's I mean, a lot of this stuff just comes from like it's economic reasons. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sure, you can be in a rough economic situation and still not have everything go to violence, but a lot of this stuff, there's a deep connection, you know, and unless and it's not like the previous generation really had all the resources to make significant change. There's really no one specific place the blame, but definitely a lot more things can be done. I mean, all you can really do is hope that at least the situation will inspire some type of change. And it seems like that right now, of course, because it's fresh, but it's fresh. So you never know if this stuff is going to last. You know, you got all different types of gangs united walking down the street in LA, which, you know, was beautiful to see on video. I hope the peace can last and that it'll turn into something that's long term. So people can really start to behave like a community and not just have it be right now while everyone is just kind of in this moment. Yeah. So, but definitely, you know, rest in peace.
Let's move on to brighter things, man. I don't want to dwell on this, and I want to make this a whole episode about this because
it's
everybody
done it. Even if we stuck on that and we talked about, I mean, look, everyone needs their time to voice how they feel. Sure, I mean, everybody's had a week of sadness, but it's venting. That's what the podcast is about, you know.
Yeah. By the way, those I highly recommend listening to my boy BTG. He has a podcast called BTG for President. He stays in California too, and he put out a heartfelt episode of his podcast detailing everything that goes on with this and how he felt about it. I think everybody, if you want to hear some stuff that's deep and emotional, you may get a little misty out about it, but that explains the situation, how people feel about it. Listen to his episode of his podcast, BTG for President. Definitely.
Yeah, I saw you post that. I was thinking about listening to it, but then the other day I was just kind of like, I had kind of hit my point where it's like I don't know if I can do it at this point. You know, my energy was just affected heavily by it, and you could just feel it in the air around here. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but definitely out here in Southern California where I am, you could just everybody's talking about it. There's just this vibe that was just all around. Like he really touched a lot of people. So, and you know, there's no denying that. But yeah, let's get to some other topics. Is there anything specific you want to talk about today?
Where you want to start? You want to talk about Shazam, or you want to?
We can hit Shazam. That's fine.
Or we can talk about me getting a year older.
You can hit that first.
Yeah, I celebrated my 39th birthday.
Happy birthday, man. I mean, I said happy birthday, right? Did I? I know I didn't.
Yeah, you messaged me a little later about it. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the happy birthday wishes and everything like that. You know, I'm 39 years old now.
How does it feel?
With age comes wisdom, and funny thing is, I found I'm going bald, so that kind of got me a little bit. Cause my wife looks at I'm sitting down in my chair, and she looks at the top of my head. She's like, "You're starting to get a little thin in the hair up top." Like, I am. She's like, "Yeah, I don't know if you just didn't brush it or what." Now, it technically speaking doesn't make a difference because for those who know, I just cut off all my hair anyway.
I mean, honestly, I was about to say that. I was like, how can you really? I'm sure you can tell. I'm just saying it doesn't make that much. But yeah, go ahead.
And like you can't really tell unless you really look like, oh yeah, it's starting to thin out right there. But it kind of gets to you because you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting old now. I'm starting to see these. Like these are the early warning signs that you're aging. When you start seeing that.
That happens to people in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? It really just depends on the person.
Like George Costanza.
I don't even know who that is, man. But
Seinfeld. Oh my God, that's awful.
You said who?
You know, George Costanza from Seinfeld.
That name sounds so familiar.
George. How do you not remember who George Costanza is from Seinfeld? He's like one of the main characters.
I didn't really watch Seinfeld. I thought it was kind of boring, kind of like Frasier. Well, actually, no, I take that back.
Don't you like Frasier?
Frasier was no. I take that back. Like I was just about to say, I take that back because it was actually pretty decent. I like Friends. So that's what you're probably thinking about that.
No, I don't like Friends.
Friends is a great show.
Friends No offense to anybody, but it's one of the whitest TV shows I've ever seen in my life, by far. And Seinfeld is a white TV show, but Friends is too white even for me.
I feel like Friends is more universal than something like Seinfeld or even Frasier.
I don't think it's more universal than Seinfeld. Maybe Frasier.
The comedy is just so like I said, it's the type of comedy that's like universal. You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't agree with that at all. Because I think there's certain comedies. Now, I will give you a show that I think the comedy on it is so good it can be considered universal. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, I don't watch that. So
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a hilarious show, and the comedy on there is so good that it kind of transcends. I think Chappelle's show was like that too. Because you have white people walking down the street and you mention Chappelle's show, and the first thing they said to you is, "I'm Rick James, bitch." So it's one of those. It's when certain comedies and things just transcend generations and cultures and society. I heard somebody talk about the other day in Living Color. It's a perfect example of that. In Living Color is one of those shows that everybody just got. Whether you're black, white, Spanish, didn't matter. You just got in Living Color at that time. Now, I don't know if it holds up now. I haven't watched Living Color since the 90s, but I know that people still talk about like that show as being one of those shows that everybody genuinely liked in terms of comedies.
Oh yeah, it's still it holds up pretty well in my opinion. I was watching some clips of it the other day. I know that I know for a fact that there's some stuff on there that if they were to play it today in our PC society, man, it just would not roll. So you can't bring. And I know people were talking about like that show should come back. Like if they're gonna do it right, it just wouldn't fly.
Yeah, I've said it before a while back when I had an interview with Rodney Barnes. I was like, y'all should bring back the Boondocks because Rodney Barnes wrote for the Boondocks, the original Boondocks cartoon show. Like, y'all should bring it back. That would be dope to have that show in this generation. Like, nah, the Boondocks a little bit too edgy for this generation because it didn't bite his tongue. That's one of the things I love about the Boondocks cartoon show. It didn't bite his tongue for nobody. It kind of people are talking about it today because of the whole R. Kelly thing. The Boondocks called this out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
The whole trial of R. Kelly, how people basically didn't care about the awful things he did, was still supporting him. And that's kind of what we're seeing now.
Yeah, it's a mess. But they surely did call out so much stuff on that show, man.
Yeah.
I need to go back and really just watch that over again. Yeah. But that's so unfortunate, man, that everybody's gotten so sensitive now that you can't say, or I mean you just can't be honest. I mean, because people don't want you to be honest. They want to hear what they want to hear. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
But I've had this conversation with a few people over the internet, and I think this will eventually pass. I think people are so sensitive now, and this whole politically correct thing isn't in style because of the person we have in office. Because he's so not politically correct, and since he's so brash and callous, and people just try to vent, and they will say anything just to go against what they think he stands for. So if he says something that may be 50% racist, we're gonna go 120% against that to show you that we're not assholes. And I think once we get a quote unquote normal person in office again, a career politician or something, it doesn't even have to be a Democrat, just somebody who's not gonna be saying some of the wild shit that he's saying and it is saying even today, I think things will normalize even a little bit more. Like I give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Because have you heard anything about the whole thing with Joe Biden? The whole
I heard about it a little bit. What was he like? People were claiming that he was touching people inappropriately or something like that. But
this is the thing.
What I read, it was just like he was putting hands on people's shoulder, kind of like "Hey, how you doing?" And it was like, "Oh, you touched me, and I didn't give you permission."
Exactly, and that's I think our culture is getting carried away with what we feel is appropriate, which is inappropriate. And I think, and it's crazy because the people who are saying he touched them inappropriately, they'll say, "It wasn't nothing sexual about it at all. It just made me uncomfortable." And it's like, well, how is this a thing? How we got to the point in our society where we're calling people out and trying to basically indict the character of a person just because you felt uncomfortable when they touched you on your shoulder or got a little too close to you? You can easily like, hey, at some point we have to take responsibility. Now, let me be clear about this. I'm not talking about sexual assault. I'm talking about somebody making you uncomfortable. We have to get to the point as a society where we can, like, you know what, you're a little too close. Back up. Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, establish personal boundaries. That's not that should be common, but But of course, everyone is like, well, you should know. It's like everyone wants you to be a mind reader. And it's really strange how this happened, but it was happening before Trump. This was happening. I think it kind of happened as a response. It was like as a response to the extreme. Right. It was like to the racism that was being exposed during Obama's presidency. I don't know. It's like it kind of happened like maybe in the middle of his presidency, and like during the end of it, people were like they were seeing how politically incorrect people can be, and so it was like they were trying to combat that. They're trying to clean things up, but they're going from one extreme to the other. Where people didn't really care enough, and so now they're saying, okay, we're going to clean this up. So people have this issue of going from one extreme to the next. Either they're not caring enough or they're caring too much, and then they end up getting to that middle point. Where, hopefully they'll get to that middle point where it's just enough, but not too much. I know I'm hitting the mic; it's way close. they're carrying just enough, but not too much. But then they have this habit of where they should stop there and keep it at that point. They get too relaxed, and it starts to slip back to where they don't care enough, and then they redo the same cycle. So
it's crazy because, like I was saying, you don't want to get too much into it because then it sounds like the boy who cried wolf almost.
Yeah.
When you sit there like, oh, he touched me inappropriately. She touched me inappropriately. He did this. He did that. And then, okay, what happened? He touched my shoulder. Okay, so what's the problem with that? I didn't want to be touched on the shoulder. And you keep on saying that. Eventually, when something really happens, nobody will want to hear it because it's been said so often that, oh, this happened. And we're making a whole big deal because this whole Joe Biden thing, something that probably shouldn't have got any press at all. It should have been maybe a one-day news story. Has been going on for weeks now.
To be totally honest with you, I saw this weird video on YouTube. I'm not trying to make the dude out to seem like a weirdo, but
he could very much be a weirdo.
He might, and no, it was just that this video, the way he was interacting with these people, it was like at first it was like, oh God, here they go trying to demonize somebody else. But I watched it and it made me feel uncomfortable. And it was going on for a minute. It was the same video, just his interactions with different people.
He's a very close talker.
I don't think it was just being close talker. You see people that are close talkers or they can't help themselves, right? But his interactions with people, it was like, that's weird. Like not weird in like an innocent way. He just doesn't know better. It was weird. And like, I could feel a crooked type of energy coming off of this. But then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm looking into it too much. I don't want to make the dude out to be a bad guy when maybe it could be harmless. But then you gotta, trust your gut. So could be a problem. It might not, but look into it. But as far as someone, touching your shoulder, that's going over the top. But definitely, if I can find the video, I'll send it to you. But it was some weird.
I can completely understand that. But the thing I'm saying about it is the fact that it's not sexual assault.
Yes, no, definitely. Like if someone is equating that to sexual assault, then they're bugging out.
You can say he's creepy. Yeah, I get that completely. And like, hey, but at some point you have to say, hey, get the hell away from me. If you're uncomfortable, it doesn't matter who it is. We have to take that responsibility. And it's not even a man thing. It's a thing. Everything in general, we have to take responsibility for the things that happen to us. Now, not sexual assault. To make that clear at all. You can't stop that. But if somebody's getting too close to you, you have to be like, hey, back up a little bit. You have to let people know when these situations are uncomfortable. You can't come out 4 years later and be like, you know what, you were a little close to me 4 years ago.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of that one situation. What was that? That one Indian comedian or what was it?
Camille Lanjani.
Was it Aziz Ansari?
Oh, that's what it was. Aziz Ansari.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, so he went out on a date with a woman. And he thought everything was going well, and but she was afraid that I guess everything was going well at first, but then they started getting sexual, but she didn't have the confidence to say, hey, I don't want to go that far, and so she kind of went along with it. I guess she was saying like she felt pressured by his status, or I don't know what the deal was. For whatever reason, she went along with it. Like pretty much was like, hey, yeah, let's do it. They did the thing, and then afterwards she sent him a long text message about how she felt extremely uncomfortable and I didn't want to do this, and he was like, whoa, I'm blown away because it's like I thought we had a great time. we just chilled and so you can't expect someone to be a mind reader and then afterward you want to talk about or you agree with it. And I don't know what I'm trying my best to say this in a way where it's not blaming people. I'm not trying to make it seem
that's
like
what I'm making it very clear. It's not about blaming people. It's about
never, if anyone is ever being physically forced or threatened or any type of, forced into a situation, never your fault. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But if someone is, you got to really, like you were saying, be able to draw those barriers and say, hey, I'm cool. I don't want to go there. Then after that, you've let it be known. After that, it is full on sexual assault. Yes.
Or just assault in general. Once you let your intentions be known, like, hey, you're not, what you're doing is invading my space, and that person still continues to do that, that's assault.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, it's whether it's sexual or not, that's assault, and you gotta say something about that. I don't give a damn if it's the president of the United States. I don't care who it is. We have to be I think we had this conversation on here a little bit like a couple of weeks ago about how this generation of us being confined to our computers so much are losing important social skills in terms of how we talk to each other and how we interact with each other. I think that plays a part into it because we don't know how to really say, hey, you invaded my space, man. We're not interacting with people like we should. We have to do better at that. We get so focused on our phones and our apps, and it's easy to call somebody a son of a bitch on Twitter as opposed to saying, I disagree with you in person, and I think the fact that we've gotten so used to technology is we're losing the social constructs of who we are. Back in the day, somebody was in your space, hey, back up off me for a minute, give me some space.
Yeah.
Now people are becoming so socially awkward, they're not doing that. They're kind of like letting it happen and then saying something afterwards. And I understand, but we have to take accountability for what happens to us. Like in terms of like situations like that now, like I said, sexual assault, things like that, a completely different situation. But it's almost like how you have these situations where people are applying for a job. Two people are applying for a job. One person gets it because they're asserting themselves. Other person doesn't get it because they're too quiet in the interview and things like that. You have to kind of let your intentions be known and let people know what you're uncomfortable with. If you don't know, they don't know. If you don't tell them, they're not going to figure it out. So if you're not asserting yourself and saying, hey, give me some space, or hey, this is not cool, they are not going to know. They're going to think it's okay. Or if you don't, if you're not telling this person, hey, I want this job because of this, this, and that, and you're just being quiet, you're not going to get the job.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. How do we get on this?
I don't know. Let's talk about Shazam. Did you see it yet?
Went from your birthday to somehow talking about, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it yesterday. I thought it was pretty good. I think I let the hype get to me though. I think other people's impressions, everyone was talking. Oh, I love it.
We can talk about that because I have a very similar opinion. I don't think the hype got to me, but when I watched it, as I was watching the movie, I watched it today. I was like, I think what is the Rotten Tomatoes is like at 90 something right now. Let me look it up real quick while we're talking. But I looked at the movie and I was like, it's good, but this is not a 98. It's at 91 right now. I'm like, this is not a 91% Metacritic movie. It's good. I would probably say it's the first half of it kind of dragged on. And
I think the first half of it was a little too much. Like the trailer covered so much of that I wasn't surprised anymore. So
that is just that the story dragged on for so long. Like
I never got that.
And even I'm gonna say this, even when I don't want to give away spoilers, of course, but even when you got that big moment of him accepting who he was, it wasn't like, okay, he's now kicking ass now. It was kind of like, okay, he's just accepting who he is, and he's still kind of the same dude. But
yeah, I mean, I don't really mind any slow moments for character development. I hate when they push it all and it's just action. I agree with that. And those kind of slower moments are bypassed just because they want explosions and punching. Like it's cool for there to be some downtime. So I don't really have an issue with that.
I think, but the problem with me was, especially with the first half of the movie, those slower moments didn't necessarily carry the story for me. I thought they were okay. I thought there was some really fun moments in those slow moments in terms of like, this is not a spoiler. This is literally in the commercial. Him like buying the beer was a nice fun moment. It was when you see that whole scene, like, okay, this is really cool. This is this is what I want to see out of this movie.
Yeah.
And you know, there are moments like that made it cool, and that
Mhm.
was very good. But there were other moments like, okay, shoot, I don't want to say that because that's part of the story. But there are other moments you're like, does he really know these people to be this close to him already? When you only see these people like maybe twice in the whole movie. There's moments like that where like, okay, now this is a little bit.
Yeah, I wish you could, explain exactly what it was. But, see, now if we were going to do like a spoiler cast discussion, that'd be
We'll
a
have to
little
do
different.
that. We'll have to do that a little bit later. Like, I give everybody a chance to see it. But this is difficult to talk about because Shazam is the character Shazam has been around for so long. But I don't know if everybody knows the story of Billy Batson and Shazam. So I don't want to just tell you, like, okay, this is what's going on and this is what happens. And because it's essentially spoilers for the movie. But the way I look at it is like, if I spoil it, it's like spoiling Batman's origin. Everybody should know that. But I'm a comic book fan, so I know these things. But I know Shazam isn't as big as a character as a Batman or a Superman. And a lot of people probably don't know the story of Shazam. But I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah, I thought it was decent. Yeah, definitely didn't blow my mind. I like the ending. I won't talk about any of that.
And it was great. That last 30 minutes, I want to say, was fantastic. And there were moments in that last 30 minutes that shocked the heck out of me that I didn't expect to see in this movie. And I said, oh, this is incredible. But I want to ask you about, I don't want to say this part, but there's a moment midway in this movie that is completely jarring and off-putting.
Well, if you can't tell me what it is, I'm not going to know.
But I will tell you, it's the office scene with the bad guy. When he goes in the office. That's not saying anything, literally. But it's so jarring watching that scene like this.
Why?
This scene belongs to the same because it's extremely violent.
I thought that was good. I mean, it didn't make everything too campy. It was it really I don't know, it really sold the idea that this is a really bad dude, So I like that part. It didn't seem jarring to me.
It seemed jarring to me because it's a rated PG-13 movie, and I feel like the 13 was earned in that one scene.
Yeah, you know how much goes down in PG-13 movies now?
Like, I know, but it felt like the whole 13 was earned in that one scene alone. Because none of the other movie is as jarring as that.
Yeah, it is pretty rough. But I like when they don't hold back on villains, At some point it was like, wow, that's a little over the top, but he's supposed to be kind of like an insane villain, So, hey.
So let me ask you this then. I've been talking a lot about this movie. Where would you rank this among DC movies, even though it's not really a DC movie, even though it is a DC movie? Did you know the story about this?
What do you mean it's not, but it is, but it's not?
Okay, you never followed up on the Shazam whole story about it. This movie was initially announced before this whole DC cinematic universe was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, The Rock was supposed to be Black Adam. He was supposed to be in this movie.
Yeah.
As the bad guy.
I remember that.
But DC doesn't own the rights to Shazam, the movie universe at least. New Line Cinema does. That's why if you watch the movie at the beginning, you'll see New Line Cinema. Then you see DC Comics. This wasn't originally a part of the DC cinematic universe at all. This was like a separate movie being made around the same time as Man of Steel was being made, and it was having so many production problems. It just didn't get started up. Like I said before, like at one point, The Rock was attached to this movie. Then they decided we're gonna make a Black Adam movie first, and then that didn't happen. And like if you watch the credits for this movie, The Rock's name is still in the credits.
For what?
He's the executive producer of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
You would think that they would push that a lot more.
Yeah, he's the executive producer. Yeah, he's the executive producer of the movie. Like I said, originally he was supposed to be in this movie, but I guess they couldn't work out the timetable how it was working, and The Rock was blowing up at that time. But yeah, this movie was supposed to be made a long time ago. Mm-hmm. This was something that was in the making for a while, and they kept having to stop and restart the movie. And I don't know if you remember, people was bashing the crap out of this movie before it came out. Like, set photos leaked of the suit and things like that.
Yeah,
this was awful and all this, but it turned out really good. The suit fixed the movie.
It did look a little rough at first. It looked cosplay like, especially with like in the close-up photos. I thought it looked a little too exaggerated. You know what I'm saying? I wanted more like the gold parts. They're supposed to be metal, but they look a little plasticky. I didn't really care for it, But in the end, it looks pretty good.
It looks pretty good in the movie itself, and I think, if you watch the movie, you can tell they kind of like, okay, you can see that they built this into the DC cinematic universe. Like they were expecting the DC Cinematic Universe to be bigger than what it was. But there's elements of it in the movie.
How do you get that? Like it just, I mean, as far as the cinematic universe, it just kind of showed evidence that they acknowledge the existence.
Well, they acknowledge it a lot. I don't want to say too much about it, but they acknowledge it a lot. Like I can say this. I'll say this part. This is small. This is a small, itsy bitsy spoiler of the movie. One of the characters is literally wearing a DC hero shirt from the DC Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, but that's nothing. That's like because they showed a Batarang, and in the trailer they acknowledged Superman.
You're not supposed to say they showed a Batarang.
They showed that in the trailer. They showed that in the trailer.
They showed that Batarang in the trailer?
Yes.
I didn't see that, but yeah. That's literally Batman's Batarang from Batman vs. Superman. It's a proper replica of it, but that's the design of that same Batarang from the Batman universe, the Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, you go back and you watch trailer 1.
I didn't know they showed that. I didn't want to mention that, but since you brought it up, yeah. That is literally that's the Batarang they found in the Batman vs. Superman.
Oh.
And there's other things that are big time nods to the DC movie universe. Like, well, I can tell you this part. This is the newspaper, for example. I don't want to say what's in the
was in the trailer too.
That was in the trailer?
Yes. Have you not seen trailer 1?
I didn't watch. I don't think I saw trailer 1, but yeah, the newspaper is literally the newspaper that was in Batman v Superman. If I'm correct.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so all that stuff literally is big nods to that. Is part of the same universe that didn't necessarily need to be in the movie, but they put it in and let you know, hey, this is part of the same universe. This is part of our thing. And I think if this universe would have not fell by the side as it did, it would have been more evident. Like, well, definitely I can't say that. That's a huge spoiler. Can't say that part, but I'll just say that the ending part would have came together a little different if this universe would have been better.
Yeah. You're talking about? Oh yeah, you're talking about the end.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I don't do spoilers. You don't have to worry about me. Yeah, I talked about some trash that's in the trailer. I'll never do these spoilers.
Yeah, but that's a huge spoiler. There's a couple of things in the movie that genuinely surprised me. I'm like, wow, I didn't know they were doing that in this movie. I didn't expect it at all, and I thought that was really cool that they went that far with it. The Shazam lore and everything. I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. They did that. I thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable movie. I expected, like some people were talking about, oh my God, this is DC's best movie. I had tears, and it was just all these people hyping it up. And so I think I'll let that get to me a little bit. I mean, I think it was that, and maybe it was just my general mood.
Well, people were saying the same thing about Aquaman.
What, that it was getting too hyped up?
People were saying that Aquaman was the best DC movie. When they first came out, they were saying that, and I watched them like, this is good, but it's not necessarily the best DC cinematic movie. It's just a fun popcorn movie.
I think people are judging it based on the fact that it's probably the least flawed DC movie, and so you give it bonus points just for the fact that it's not so messed up like Batman versus Superman or Justice League. I almost forgot about Justice League just for a second, like, 'cause it really was kind of a mediocre movie. Man of Steel, surprisingly, I think. Well, I haven't watched Aquaman, so
Aquaman is fun. I don't think it's necessarily good. It's fun. I would put Aquaman up there with with a Fast and Furious movie.
Those are fun. Yeah, those are cool.
They're fun. They're not necessarily good, but they're really fun.
Some of them are really good. I enjoy the fact that they can make it fun. It's not to be taken too seriously, and the story is decent enough where you actually follow it. Yeah, I think was it after Fast and Furious? Yeah, it was Fast and Furious through 7. It actually had a story worth following.
Well, I think if you like those, if you like those, you'll like Aquaman. Because Aquaman, I think, is directed by James Wan.
I believe so.
So yeah, if you like those movies, you'll like Aquaman. I'll put it that way to you.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. I don't know why I keep putting off watching it, but yeah, I think my favorite movie so far that I've seen is Man of Steel. Like, after I watched it a couple of times, at first it was like, wow, y'all really rushed through his whole origin story all the way to becoming Superman. But it was, after I rewatched it and I kind of threw all those criticisms out the window, I actually saw that it was a solid movie. And
since you mentioned it, let's do it. The top 5 DC cinematic movies. Now, I'm not talking about this universe, not the Nolan trilogy, is nothing like that. Just this universe that we're in right now.
Me top 5.
There's more than 5 movies.
What? Let me see. Man of Steel.
That's 1.
What is it? Batman versus Superman.
That's
Justice
2.
League. Wonder
That's
Woman.
3, 4. You're only 4 now. That's not all of them.
But yeah, I know this. What is it?
Aquaman 5.
Shazam.
Shazam 6. Suicide Squad 7.
Oh, that's trash.
Is there another one? I think there's another one.
No, I don't think so.
That might be it. Okay, that's 7 movies.
And so you want to rank them one from?
No, just you want to do all 7? We can do all 7. You give me 7. I give my 7.
Like
it's
so
only
you're talking
2
about
more.
rank the best, least to anyway.
Yeah, let's go best to worst.
Yeah.
Let's see how our list. Let's see how our list compare.
Because I was saying, because there's not that many to be doing a top 5 now. If there was like 20 movies, like the MCU or some crazy crap, then But let's see, out of 7.
So let's do all top 7. Let's do best to worst then.
My favorite would be. See, I can only go based on what I've seen. So,
so that automatically puts Aquaman at last because you haven't seen that one, obviously.
Yeah.
No, fuck that.
Not on the list.
Fuck that. We're putting Aquaman at 6. We're putting Suicide Squad at 7.
I don't do trash. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. I'm doing top 5.
I thought we were gonna rank best to worst then, because you said there's only two more differences. So let's just do best to worst.
All right.
So we already know our 6 and 7 for you at least.
It doesn't even seem fair to put it on there because I haven't seen it. So I mean, yeah, my favorite would be Man of Steel. Okay, it's just the most solid film. I think the visuals were just crazy, especially when they actually go back to Krypton. Well, not back to Krypton. When they actually show Krypton in the beginning, I would love to see just a whole movie based around that. Before all that went down, it was.
You don't watch the show?
Man, it was crazy. I've seen bits and pieces of that. That's not the same. The visuals are not on the same level at all. You know what I'm saying? They're not bad, but
I think it's in the same universe.
It might be in the same universe, but the budget is not the same. So of course it's not going to look as good. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but
let's get to your number 2 then. I like your number 1. I think this is going to be completely different than yours, but I like it.
Let's see. As far as 2, let me think. Probably Batman versus Superman.
Okay.
I think it was just because I enjoyed Batman so much. Okay. Of course, they kind of did Superman a little bit wrong, but yeah, I mean that warehouse scene that just makes it. Okay. Honestly, if there was more moments like that in that, it'd probably be number 1. But let's see. So there's Batman versus Superman. Yeah, I guess Shazam could. No, yeah, Shazam. I'll give Shazam 3. I'll give Wonder Woman 4. Justice League 5.
That's it.
Suicide Squad 6. What you were saying out of 7, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you haven't seen Aquaman yet, so
yeah. So I guess that's pretty much it.
Okay, my list. Number 1, I think I'll put Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman to me is the first DC movie that was actually cohesive.
Okay.
Even though I feel like, and I've said this multiple times before, they literally just took Captain America: First Avenger, put Wonder Woman in, and just made that movie over again. Essentially,
I could see that,
which is fine by me. It's literally almost as if you watch Captain America: First Avenger and you watch Wonder Woman, like, oh, these are damn near the same movie.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, like after the point where he actually gets the serum, yeah.
Yeah.
The
whole trench scene and everything, yeah. Very similar movies. Number 2, I'd put
but the time period was really similar, so
yeah.
So yeah, I get that. But yeah, go ahead.
2, I'd probably put Batman versus Superman because I'm going to stick by this. That is the best version of Batman I've ever seen.
I agree.
The best version of Batman I've ever seen in a movie that's not so good.
Have you seen the Ultimate Edition though?
I have the Ultimate Edition. I liked it.
I think that made it a much better movie.
It did, but I don't think it made it a good movie.
Decent, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my number 2. Now this is where it's hard because I actually like all 3 of these movies. I'm one of the people who actually liked Justice League.
It wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad. It just wasn't great, which you'd expect from a Justice League movie.
Yeah. No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put Shazam number 3. Shazam, I think, is good enough to be number 3. It's fun. It tells a great story. No complaints about Shazam. Number 4, I'm gonna put Aquaman. Aquaman, and number 5, I'll put Justice League. Trying to think of anything else I need to put. Suicide Squad dead last. And I'm missing a movie. What movie am I missing? Which one am I missing? I'm missing one.
I don't think so. Wait, we said there were 7, right?
Yeah, I have to be missing one.
Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Aquaman.
Oh, Man of Steel. That's what I'm missing. I'll put Man of Steel number 6.
Okay, so
I'm placing number 6. I didn't dislike it. Thought it was fine.
Oh, you said you placed Man of Steel at number 6?
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought it was okay.
Great disrespect. Oh.
I know a lot of people like Man of Steel. I didn't like it as much as everybody else did. When I first watched it, like, oh, this is boring.
I didn't think it was that great first watch, but I think once I started to pay attention to the detail, then it was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. I like what they did there. I appreciate that. You know, it's like you start to respect the little small details, and it becomes a better movie. But at first, it was like, what? Because I had an idea of what I wanted a Superman movie to be. So I was so caught up in that I couldn't enjoy it for what it was. So
I think the trailer kind of messed it up. Because the trailer kind of like gave you a vision of one Superman movie, and the movie wasn't that. You remember the trailer for Man of Steel?
Mm-mm. I need to watch it again.
I recommend you going to watching the original Man of Steel trailer. It kind of gives off a kind of like a Christopher Reeve Superman feel to it.
It's supposed to kind of hold a traditional vibe to bring back, you know, classic fans. So I mean, but I guess if you went looking for that, yeah, you're not getting that. You started getting a Michael Bay-ish sort of toned. Well, I only say Michael Bay because of the camera look. What is it? It's like a filter over it. What is that? What is that look? You know what I'm saying? You know how everything kind of has that dark, shadowy sort of look to it.
You talking about with Man of Steel?
Yeah, you know how everything kind of has like a darker kind of vibe to it.
But you said Michael Bay.
Yeah, Michael. You never see that in the Transformer movies. How things kind of have that sort of.
But see, you confused me because he didn't make Man of Steel, right? That's what if they made Man of Steel?
Yeah, I'm just saying it sort of has. Yeah, I'm not saying that he made it. I'm saying that it sort of has that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, it does, but that didn't bother me.
Yeah. I don't think that was a problem. I thought that was just kind of like, wow, that kind of has that quality to it. But yeah, I mean, if you were looking for something that was sort of those older movies, they were kind of campy, right?
Which ones?
Those older Superman movies.
Yeah, the Christopher Reeve ones. Yeah, they were. Yeah,
so if you were looking for that, you weren't getting that at all.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that. It kind of gave you the feel of like you have to watch it because it's hard to describe it. I guarantee you, if you watch, you're like, oh, this trailer is not the movie that we got.
I'll have to check it out. I thought you cut out for a second. I'm like,
no, I'm thinking
you went silent all of a sudden. It was just random.
No, because my phone kept ringing. Fuck it, leave this part here. My phone kept ringing. So I'm thinking something happened. And so I kept putting. You saw me like putting it like to voicemail because people kept calling me. And I'm like, I think like everything okay. Then I get this random ass question is about the Nintendo Switch. Like, is the Switch? Let me read the question. I'm not gonna read who it's from, but and it threw me for a loop. I was calling to ask if the device plan for the Switch is worth it. Like, what the fuck is the device plan for the Switch? The Switch doesn't have a device plan. It confused me.
The device plan? It's like a replacement plan? Like a warranty?
That's what you think they're talking about?
I don't know.
I'm assuming that's what it is. Like, no, don't get that shit. I don't know what the hell it is. That's what I said. Don't get it. No.
And you make sure that you're clear about what they're talking about because you might be saying no to something that you want.
No, even if it's the repair plan, still not worth it. If you're a grown man, I have yet to mess up any of my consoles on my own.
Yeah, but it's not about you. Sometimes the crap just might be a little defective, or it might, it might be something broken on the inside that's just on the edge of just popping off.
But even with that, your system has a year warranty with it.
Yeah, but it might have. What if it happens right after the year? Which is possible.
That has never happened to me. I think I'm trying to think. I have had a system go bad on me, but it was literally the first day I got it, and I'll take it right back to the store. The PS4. I bought a PS4 on launch day, and when I bought it, I took it home, put it in. I think it was called the red light of death. I don't know if you remember this, but the launch PS4s had an issue where as soon as you turn them on, certain ones, they give it like a blinking red light, and they wouldn't work.
I didn't get that, but I had some trash go wrong on my first PS4. I had to take it right back. I think my disc wouldn't come out or something. It was some crazy trash. And they were so sold out, I didn't get another one for like a month. That sucked.
That's the almost exact same thing happened to me. It was sold out, and they were like, "Oh, we'll send you another one in a couple of days or something like that." Like, no. Y'all need to fix this shit immediately. I just waited because I went. That was the time I actually went to a midnight opening for the PS4. Got home, couldn't play it.
Yeah, I didn't get to do that. I was just hunting all around California. Yeah, that's
I was pissed. And it was a pre-order PS4 that was paid for. I pre-order because anytime I buy a console, I pre-order and I pay for it before it comes out. So I'm like, I already paid my money. Unfortunately, when I came back that morning, a shipment was just coming in of new PS4s. They're like, "Oh, we gotta give you another one, man. We don't have a choice in this situation. We have to give you another one. If somebody else's problem, we paid for yours already." So they gave me another one that day.
Hey, well, that's good. It's nice that it worked out that way for you, man. There was no shipments around here. And then when they did come in, it was like people were on it. People were just roaming around. It was a mess. That's
a pro tip for anybody console, we're pretty soon we buy new consoles anyway. What, 2020, 2021, most likely? Yeah, new consoles becoming. That might even be this year.
This year. I mean, only thing that's coming out this year.
Stadia comes out.
You said what comes out this year?
Stadia comes out this year. Stadia.
I care about no trash Stadia, man. That garbage.
But we may get an Xbox One this year. A new Xbox, well, not an Xbox One, a new Xbox console this year. It's possible. I know the discless Xbox supposed to be coming out this year.
I could see the Xbox streaming device coming out to compete with Stadia. If Stadia's coming out this year, I could see that coming out. But the actual like fresh console, I think we probably get that next year.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if a new Xbox came out this year. It would not surprise me at all because it would make sense why PlayStation would back out of E3. If Xbox like, no, if they knew Xbox was coming out with a new system this year, like, we don't want no parts of that because we don't have nothing to contend with that.
Look, if they were backing out for anything, I think it would be because they want one. I think they're just backing out because it's not really necessary anymore. I think they're going to start using PSX for their main.
Well, they said it. They said it before. They said we're backing out. When it happened, we're backing out because we don't have nothing that's that substantial to show.
Yeah, but they already canceled PSX last year for that same reason. I don't think they would have that long of a stretch with nothing to show.
But I think PlayStation might actually have that long of a stretch. If they don't plan on showing, they might not show nothing this year. It wouldn't shock me if they didn't show anything until PSX. And what they show at PSX is, hey, here's the PS5. We have more details next year's E3. And that wouldn't shock me at all. And I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Xbox comes out this year because we're going to start getting announcements of these systems. It's just all timed on when. It wouldn't shock me if Xbox comes out and say, hey, Xbox 5 or whatever I'm going to call it is coming out either next at E3. They say it's coming out either this year or sometime early next year. I truly believe Xbox is dropping first next year, next console generation.
Yeah, I mean, nobody checking for Xbox anyway, so they can go ahead and drop that.
But they're doing all the right things as of late. They seem like they're making all the moves to prepare for this next console cycle. So I can easily see them being like, okay, here's the new Xbox.
I hope they do better. Because they were making all the wrong moves before, and it was. Hold on. Let me pause this track.
Joey's going to check the door. Check the door. Check the door. Joey's going to check the door. Who can it possibly be? I hope he leaves all this in here. Boom, 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 boom. Gunshots. Question to everybody on the podcast right now. Even though you can't answer me. I'm going to date us. We are recording this the week of WrestleMania. Hopefully it will come out near this time. You may not hear this episode until May. Joy's back.
All right. Where were we?
We were talking about the console generations and things like that, and Xbox possibly either dropping this year or early next year, which I think it could possibly happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't. The only thing I could really see is dropping this year, like I said, is the that Xbox Cloud thing. But I mean, possibly. I mean, it's.
Don't kill me if I'm wrong. I'm just saying that it would make sense for one of the. If any system was to drop now this year, it would probably be Xbox. That's what I think.
I think we'll possibly see Nintendo come out the gate first, with their pro version of the Switch.
That's probably coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about that. That might be coming out this year.
You're gonna get the cheap version. I think that's gonna happen. The cheap version of the Switch, those no Joy-Cons. I think it's gonna come with a dock. I think you just non-detachable little Joy-Cons, and you can still. I don't know if it will come with the dock. I think it'll just come with a charger, and you can buy one separately because that'll make it more expensive. So maybe just the charger.
It'll be a charger.
Oh, that'd be stupid. Now,
it wouldn't be the first time they've done that.
Yeah, but in the
last 3DS didn't have a charger, I'm correct?
Yeah, but the reason why they do that is because they come out with these things so long after that they assume that anyone that like wants a charger already has one. They probably already got a previous one, and they don't do that with the 2DS. With the 2DS, the 2DS version always comes with a charger.
The Switch takes USB-C.
Not everybody has USB-C. A lot of devices still come with a USB-A.
Yeah, but you can buy a USB-C charger anywhere.
Yeah, but
like Five Below sells them for $5. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they were like, "Here's the new Switch. Go buy your own damn charger."
Oh, that'd be absolutely terrible. That'd be absolutely terrible. I just can't see them doing something so stupid. But Nintendo's stupid sometimes, so they truly do some really stupid stuff.
I can see them doing it. I didn't understand when they did it with that new 3DS. Like, hey, here's a new 3DS. By the way, you got to buy your own charger for it. I can see them being like, hey, here's another Switch. You can't take out the Joy-Cons or anything like that. But we're assuming you're buying this because you already have a Switch and you want this one for your kid. So here's one with no charger. Figure it out yourself.
They haven't sold that much though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they can't even pull the whole 3DS. It's like, hey, we've already sold like 80,000, so we assume that everyone has. And wait, didn't the
80,000?
Not 80,000, 80 million, something like that. Didn't the 3DS use like the same charger as like the previous DS or something? And so that was the reason why they justified it, because it was like, if you had the other one, well, we're sure like if you played the DS and you had a DSi or whatever, it's the same charger, so you got to have one of them. I think that
I got to check it out because I have the new 3DS. I bought it for my wife. So I think it's something like that, or I think it takes like a USB-C or something like that. I got to check it out and see what it actually takes.
It was something like that. Like, it's like they've been using the same charger for years, and so they're like, well, you have to have one of them. So it was something stupid like that. But still, you don't sell an electronic device and not put the charger in there. That is the most ridiculous trash. Oh man. But anyway,
they did it.
Yeah, did it, and it was the dumbest trash. You know what? What's always got me right? This is totally unrelated. The fact that the Xbox controllers, as expensive as they are, still come with AA batteries. Like, that is
I like that.
I think that is the dumbest trash.
I like that. I actually enjoy that. I like the fact that I can just. Maybe it's because I don't play the Xbox One that much, but I like the fact that I can just like, oh, battery's going low. I'll just change the batteries. I go take myself over to Big Lots, buy a whole bunch of those AA batteries because they have like a whole like 30 pack of AA batteries for like $7. I buy that. Just have those specifically for my Xbox controllers.
So wasteful though. Like, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I had to get a charger straight out the gate. Like, get the rechargeable like plug and play, not the official one. Like, you can get the Power A ones for like $14 or something like that. It comes with 2 battery packs and a long cable. So it's like, I'm not about to be paying for no freaking alkaline batteries or have to do the old school way of popping individually the batteries into a rechargeable. And the thing was, see, because I noticed there's a whole bunch of crap going on with the Xbox controller, especially the original one, that was done just out of pure greed. Because like, it's like the proprietary port at the bottom, right? The one that it was like, if you wanted to use that, if you wanted to use your own headphones, you had to buy the chat adapter, the official Xbox chat adapter, which was like $40 for basically a headphone jack and some buttons, instead of just putting the freaking port on there. Like, like Sony did with their controller. So greed, and then they did the other greedy part which partner up with Duracell, so Duracell can be the official partner of Xbox. Like I've actually seen an advertisement. Duracell is the official partner for. Like, that is a stupid. When did the crap come out? 2013, and they still come with batteries because Microsoft partnered with them. So they're getting a nice fat check, and they're just saying they're putting that off on us. Like, hey, we're gonna save and make money. Y'all go ahead and go buy some extra batteries.
I can't
at
be
least
mad
stick
at
through
that.
the headphone jack.
I can't be mad at that because Microsoft is losing per se. So I want them to find any kind of deal they want. Yeah, because I want them to be profitable. I want them to make money off of Xbox so they continue making Xboxes.
You know what?
I don't want to.
With that kind of greed, they can go out of business. I don't care. That is nonsense. It's that same greed that got them into the position that they're in right now. They want it to be ultra controlling. They want it to be ultra controlling over the way that we did stuff. And so that's why they're in this position. If they would have been decent, like they should have been, and just stick to their same path like they were on Xbox 360, they would have been perfectly fine. Greed does nothing but get you into a hole.
I do not want a situation where Xbox or PlayStation, for that matter, because it could definitely happen, pulls a WWE. Where
I don't know what the heck that means, man.
Okay.
Watch that trash.
Boo. I'm not going to respond to that with an answer. But especially this is being WrestleMania weekend. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. Back in the 90s, probably before you were born, there was WCW and WWE. WWE was always number one. They were kicking ass and taking names and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, WCW stepped their game up with the NWO and all these things. They were kind of like pushing this kind of edgier side of wrestling, kind of like mixing it with reality and stuff like that. Wrestling was going by their real names and things like that. It was really cool. But people stopped watching WWE and started watching WCW because of that. That competition led WWE to get better and get guys like Stone Cold and The Rock and make these big superstars and become the Titan they are today. So at the expense of WCW, because WCW ended up folding because they didn't adapt to the times. But WWE had this long period of time where they had no competition, and there's been an argument going on forever that the fact that since they didn't have any competition, they became complacent and the product suffered for it. And it wasn't as good as it was in the times when they were having WCW to go up against and things like that. And people complain, even today, we wish it was back to the Attitude Era and things like that, back to how it was in the 90s and things. Because WCWF was so good back then because of that competition, I think the same thing goes towards video games. You always want PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo to have some form of competition with each other, whether it's friendly or not, so they can keep each other pushing each other to the limit. And, when we don't have that competition, you have BS like PlayStation, we're going to charge $600 for our console because if you don't, we know you'll just get a second job to get it. No. When they said that bullshit, people said, fuck that, we're going to Microsoft.
You know that price actually was not that unreasonable. If you think about it.
That price was horrible. That price
was for a console, if you weigh that up against a gaming PC with that special processor that they had and the fact that they made it so you could run Linux on the side. And
I am going to vehemently go up against that because this is why I say that. It was $600, and I would agree with you if the games ran better on PS3. They did
because developers couldn't really, get used to the cell processor.
It's like having a system that can do so much stuff, but nobody can use it. It's like having a fine girl as your wife and not be able to do anything to her. What's the point of having her around if you can literally not talk to her, have a good communication relationship with her, not have anything sexual with her, or anything that you'd want to do with your wife? And that's how it was with that PS3. The PS3 had all this stuff on it that, you can run Linux on it. You can do your taxes on it, whatever. But you couldn't play games the way you wanted to play them on it. So what was the point of having all that stuff in there? That's why a lot of people went to Xbox at that time because, our system technically was better.
And couldn't understand where they were trying to go. I respect the vision, but yeah, it definitely, I guess it was just a bunch of features that most people wouldn't use anyway. It was cool, the idea of, I got a console that I can use like my own personal computer. Like that's cool, but most people weren't going to run Linux. The most disrespectful thing I think they did was they actually deactivated that feature. Like, how do you kill off that feature? That should have been illegal, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
Like, Totally unreal. You know what? Go. Were you going somewhere with that? Because there was something else I wanted to say.
No, go ahead and finish what you're saying.
No. This is
because they did a lot of bullshit
topic.
with that. They did a whole lot of bullshit with that. They took out the backwards compatibility.
No, I think that still works on the older versions.
Yeah, you gotta find the older version. They took it out so you can't like do it anymore.
You just complained about the price. How you gonna complain that they took it out to make it cheaper?
Yeah, but they did that to make it cheaper. But you can't use that excuse. You can't, because Xbox 360 was backwards compatible.
Two different,
and it wasn't.
No, the reason why it was a different problem is because the cell processor didn't didn't run PS2 games properly. So you actually had to have the PS2 hardware packed into the console. So it was like, I think, wasn't like two processors in one?
That's not our fault. That's like saying, hey, we would have made you a Big Mac, but we only had one burger left. So you got a single Mac. No, motherfucker, you need to fix this problem. We didn't pay.
That is not alike at all. That is a horrible example.
Yes, it is. Because Xbox is sitting there like, oh, we can still run backwards compatibility. Oh, no, because we didn't design this
processor.
Right. It doesn't matter.
The point of that is like, okay, well, we're giving you this better processor so we can give you next generation graphics. When it was optimized properly, right? When they used it properly, it gave some of the best graphics of last gen. And you know that. So
by Xbox 360. And I'm going to defend Xbox 360.
It eventually came up, and they pretty much.
It doesn't mean jack.
You said what?
This is the problem. See, this is the whole thing. We're going to have a debate about this because I don't care if they eventually caught up. That's not the problem. The problem is that they was not offering a quality product that people clearly didn't want.
What?
Xbox 360 was outselling it, and those shits was crashing every 5 fucking minutes.
You know what? And it's probably because you got what you paid for. You got what you paid for.
I love the PS3. It's probably one of my favorite consoles of all time.
Exactly, because it was so good. They put
it was crashing every 10 minutes, and people were still buying them because of this whole, oh, we can't go backwards compatibility because of this fucking stupid ass cell processor. No, make it so it can work. And it's funny how now when they do everything people want, oh, PS4 are selling like hotcakes. I wonder why. Because you're doing everything people want.
They thought they were doing what people wanted before. They were giving you exactly things that you never were able to do in a console. Like that's, I applaud them. I applaud them for everything that they were trying to do. Yes, it was more expensive, but when you compare what it was capable of doing, to previous consoles, like it makes sense that it would be a little bit more. And if you compare that to a gaming PC. It's like you still getting a pretty good deal. Like it's just like you compare these consoles now, like even though they're not cheap, like when they're fresh out the gate, they're not cheap. But when you compare them to a gaming PC, it's still it's a nice deal. So I don't know. $600 a lot, but
I'm not rocking with that because of the fact of the matter is, only games that look great on PS3 were games that were made for PS3. If there was a game that was a 360 game, 9 times out of 10, if it was a game that was a multi-platform game, 9 times out of 10, it ran better on 360. And that's a big problem now.
Well, that was because they were more familiar with the hardware. That's not their fault. I guess Sony should have rolled out a program where they actually got people more used to the hardware. So it was kind of stuff happens when you try new stuff, man.
They should have never came up with that trash ass hardware.
It wasn't trash. It was just complicated. It was ahead of its time. I guarantee you the technology that they had in the cell processor is probably something that close to what we have in current processors right now. I bet $5.
It probably is, but it did not work.
It did work. It worked perfectly fine.
It did not work because
the Xbox didn't work, and that's why I'm seconds was catching on fire. The PS3 had a very low. So it had a very low shutdown rate.
It tells you how trash it was. Xbox were fucking blowing up. And people say, you know what, we'll just buy the Xbox. We're not buying a PS4.
But you know what's nutty? You know what's nutty though, right? If it came out now like that, how people are they're okay with paying more. Like it's not like people were just like, oh, I'm not about to get no dang iPhone. I'm about to get no iPhone that's like it's over $1,200.
If you tell me right, if they would come out with consoles right now and tell me the new PS5 is going to be $600. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm sticking with this PS4 then. Fuck that.
Yeah, you.
I guarantee a lot of people be like, nah, can't roll. Because we have to have our limit. And it's funny to say that, but we have to have our limit. We have to have that point where we're going to say, you know what? We're not going to pay them because of the same thing people say about iPhones. iPhone for $1,300.
That's a
rip. It was $400.
It
was $500. then it's a 600, and people
You can't
kept
compare
paying
the
for
two though. You can't compare the two
it.
though.
Yeah, you compare it.
No, you
Because
can't compare the two because like I gave you the exact reason why it was like that. They gave you a processor that was way ahead of its time. They actually basically gave you two consoles in one because, like I said, you couldn't actually run the PS2 games on the PS3 processor, so they had to put the freaking PS2 processor in there so it could run it. So you basically had two consoles in there. So that's why the crap was just super expensive. You say it doesn't matter. It does matter. It was not something that consumers are ready to pay for, but it did.
Really affordable. And this is the problem I have with iPhone. This is the problem iPhone's running in now. Their sales of iPhones are going down because they have basically outpriced themselves.
Well, they're going down also because people are just buying used iPhones. There are just so many iPhones out there that they don't need to buy new anymore. Everyone's going on. So I'm going to eBay or I'm going to OfferUp and go check out that.
New iPhone is $2,100 in some cases.
$2,100. I think they max out at like $1,500.
Let's look at it right now.
I think a fully spec'd might be like, well, no, I know. Okay, I'll take that back. I'm probably wrong. That would be ridiculous. That's a maxed out. Go ahead.
But that happens because people are sitting there buying it. And as long as you keep buying things at extraordinary prices, they're like, okay, you're buying it at 500. Next time we're gonna make it 600.
That's different though. That's purely Apple tax versus actually paying for what what is actually in there.
Sony would do the exact same thing. They've been doing it forever. This is not a new thing for anybody. The PlayStation 3. This is not a new thing. Apple taxes for everything. Every system does this. If you keep paying these extraordinary prices for things, they're not going to be like, oh, you know what? We're going to make it cheaper now. No, they're going to keep going up.
I'll agree with you. You have to have a limit. You have to, as a consumer, you have to flex your power. I was talking about this last episode, but I'm talking about in the case of the PS3. No, I'm only disagreeing with you in the case of the PS3. Look, I am frugal. Some would call me cheap. Okay, I don't pay just the price. Oh, well, it's this company, so it's perfectly fine. It's Apple. What do you expect? I don't accept that. Okay, if I don't feel that I'm actually paying for what it's worth, then I'm not gonna be okay with that. But in the case of the PS3, for what they packaged in, I understand the price. It wasn't something that people wanted to pay because it wasn't what they wanted. They didn't ask for all these extra features. They didn't ask to run Linux. They didn't ask for, whatever. So they didn't really ask for the cell processor, but they got it. It was trying something new. It failed.
Literally said, we don't want to pay $600 for a console.
Yes, but how will you know unless you try, right? And it wasn't just throwing in that price because, hey, we're in a good position now. Let's see how far we can push the consumer to pay for our crap. They packed in so much crap to the point where if they didn't charge it at somewhere around there, they probably still pushed it because they're still trying to make profit. What?
One day we need to do this.
What?
We need to sit down and have a watch along with me and you. We're gonna watch that conference again. Just the Sony part when they announced the PS3 and the price. And listen to how the air in the room just leaves.
I'm not surprised. I understand. I understand, especially when you're going from a PS2, the slim line. That sucker's like $199 around the or cheaper. What they going like $150 around the time of the launch of the PS3? That is a huge difference. Like the price for the PS3 was so high that it actually I think it made PS2 sales jump because people were like, nah. So that's why that sucker sold like almost 150 million or something crazy. But
the same thing kind of happened this console generation for the Xbox One. When they came out and said Xbox One came out and they were like, oh, it's only $499.99. People were like, what? And then PS4 came out like, oh, our console's $399.99. They cheered. It was almost a standing ovation.
Nobody want that trash. I mean, look in the case. Listen, let's listen in the. All right. Look, I understand it, but I'm being selective here. I'm being selective here because as long as I feel like I'm actually paying like for something where I can actually feel like the product's actually worth it, then okay. But when in the case of the Xbox, you were paying $500 for an inferior console, but with a motion sensing camera. So that's what bumped it up so much. So of course it's not worth the price. When you actually got down to just console hardware, you were paying all that much and the actual console was inferior. So yes, no, in no way would I ever think that it's okay to pay $500. Sell Connect. Connect should have been something sold separately from jump, and then it would have been all good. But they wanted to make it a main part of the experience. So I get what they're going for, but they just weren't in the position to. Well, they thought they were in a position to push that nonsense, which I guess Sony kind of was too. They would. Dang, it's actually very similar. they both were in a position where they thought, okay, well, we're on top, so we can try to push something different. So Sony tried to pack in a bunch of crap that the consumers didn't ask for with PS3, which bumped the price up way beyond what people wanted to pay. And because they thought, okay, well, we can do this because we're here, and it didn't work out, and so they had to fall back. Same thing happened with Xbox One, so it is actually a very similar situation. That's crazy.
Funny how the tables turn.
Yeah, but I can't really knock either one of them for that. So I mean, in the case of the Xbox and what they were trying to do, if it would have worked out, man, it could have been really cool. Using voice commands, and like I see people use voice commands in PC gaming. I watch this dude named Buana on he does Twitch streaming, and man, can you hear any of that in the background?
I was going to ignore it, but you just brought attention to it. So,
oh Lord, I can't stand this place. I'm gonna edit this, or maybe I will. Maybe I won't. It's just so much noise around here. Anyway, this dude I watch, his name is Buana. He does PC gaming. He's streaming on Twitch, and he's playing Elite Dangerous, and he's doing these voice commands, and he'll be like, prepare for like hyperdrive or something, and it does a little voice or like an AI in the ship. It responds to him. I guess it's a part of like the voice command program, and so it's basically like voice command buttons. So he says something, and it basically does like a command on the keyboard, but just voice activated. But it's so freaking cool. You know what I'm saying? So if they would have had that part of the experience in the Xbox One, everyone would have been able to experience it because it was packaged in a box. So I respect that, but it was just far too expensive for something that we weren't sure of yet. Like they didn't really prove that concept to us yet. Like I think that was a part of the problem. Like they focused way too much on sports. So the whole introduction was just horrible. If they would have sold that concept to us and showed how motion and voice could have just completely changed the way we play the game, I think I would have been more down for it straight out at launch. But the way it was stupid. So, and then you had that crap with the checking in with your games, registering every freaking game, every disc to your account. So it's like that was hot nonsense.
Have to be connected to the internet at all times.
Yeah, all that trash. It's like you might as well. That was game streaming out the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's pretty much every problem I have with game streaming was a part of that. It completely eliminates so many benefits of ownership. Like, you don't get to tell me who I can let borrow my games or lock my disc to my account. I can't sell it. I can't let someone borrow it like this. That's nonsense. But anyway, sorry people that are listening. Sorry for all the dang noise in the background, man. You live in an apartment. You just, it goes down like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got anything else to say, man? I kind of went on my
long enough. What is it? It's a long episode. It's good though.
Oh yeah. It was cool. Oh man, this is gonna be nice to edit. So I'm gonna have to go back and I might just say bump it and put out a ratchet podcast, man. All the noise in the background.
People want to hear the episode. Just put it out as soon as possible.
Yeah,
they'll be happy.
We for real though, like we need to be. We shouldn't record on weekends. let's you push it back to weekdays when the kids are at school. But yeah, man, it was is that it? We good? We gonna close off? All right, we gonna cap it off here, man. Thanks everyone for listening. Really appreciate y'all. Just remember, if you're listening on iTunes, please remember to give it a like, and also like follow the podcast on any of your podcast apps so you can get them. You can get notifications as soon as it comes out. Sorry everyone that wanted to listen to the last episode of the podcast on YouTube. For whatever reason, I didn't upload that one on there. It's gonna come up there, but it's gonna be super late. So if you're still waiting for that one, this one won't be late. Hopefully it'll come out on YouTube before this comes out, and this will be irrelevant. But anyway, still sorry for that. Also, yeah, if you want to follow me or Delvin, you can check me out on YouTube at Skyward King, no space in between the words altogether. Follow Delvin at Delvin_Cox on Twitter. Definitely follow the podcast Twitter page too at Skywardcast. I'm getting flustered over here. All right, and thank you for listening, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.